Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm gonna be talking about Odette, one of the strongest mages in the game. In this video, I will also talk about how Odette works in full details, which includes his passive, skills, builds, emblems, combo, along with some tips and guide on how to use her in a match. So let's get started with the video. Currently, Odette is one of the best mages for ranking up. And what makes her so special is her ability to burst down multiple enemies at once. And if used correctly, she can be very deadly and annoying. But mastering her can be difficult, especially if you have never used her before. So in order to master Odette, you must first understand her passive and skills. I will first explain how her first and second skill works, and after that, I will then explain her passive. So let's start with her first skill. With the help of her first skill, Odette concentrates energy to summon a swan to attack enemies, dealing 300 magic damage to enemies hit, and also slowing them by 30% for 2 seconds. This skill is really useful for clearing the minion wave and also poking the enemies. And this skill is also your primary offensive skill in the early to mid game, so make sure to max out this skill first. Now, let's talk about her second skill. With the help of her second skill, Odette releases a set of magic energy balls in the target direction, dealing 250 magic damage to the enemy hit, and immobilizing them for 1.5 seconds. This skill is your main source of crowd control. And if the enemies are standing near each other when using this skill, the enemies besides your target will also be immobilized, allowing you to stun more than one enemy at once. Make sure to use this skill when chasing or escaping from the enemies, as successfully hitting the enemies with this skill will allow you to escape or use your other skills. Now, before we talk about her ultimate, let's talk about her passive ability. With the help of her passive, every time you cast your skills, your next basic attack will get enhanced, increasing the range of your basic attack, and also making your basic attack bounce between the enemies, dealing 200 magic damage per hit. And if there is only one enemy, then the basic attack will bounce between you and the enemy. And if you don't use your basic attack after casting a skill, your next skill can also trigger the bouncing effect, increasing your overall damage potential. Now, let's talk about her ultimate skill. With the help of her ultimate, Odette begins to dance in a circle, dealing 2,400 magic damage to enemies in a large area around her for 5 seconds. And when you use your ultimate, you will also gain a shield of 1,400, making it difficult for the enemies to kill you while you use your ultimate. And during the channeling of your ultimate, you can tap on her ultimate again to dash a short distance, allowing you to reposition yourself. You can pretty much melt almost everyone inside your ultimate without much effort. But you must remember, this skill can be interrupted and cancelled by heroes like Nana and Sho, so you must be careful when playing against those heroes. And using your skills and basic attack during her ultimate will also cancel her ultimate, so make sure not to use your skills when using her ultimate. Now, let me show you the combos you can do with Odette.
This sword is a gift spree. Love is worth an adventure. Any adventure. The melody of swans!
Now, let's talk about her builds and emblems. For Odette, this is the best build for her. This build will allow you to burst down the enemies within seconds. But alternatively, one of the main things you will notice when using Odette is that she consumes a lot of mana. And you will constantly need to recall back to base in order to refill your mana. But if you don't want to waste your time recalling to base again and again, then you can also go for this build. This build will provide you with a ton of mana, all while still being able to dish out a decent amount of damage. Now, let's talk about her emblems and talents. For her emblem, it's recommended to go for the Mage emblem, as it is the most suitable emblem for Odette. And for her first talent, go for Rapture. Rapture will provide you with +5 adaptive penetration, allowing you to deal more damage to the enemies. And just in case you didn't know, the word adaptive means both magic and physical damage heroes can use it. And for her second talent, go for Weapon Master. Weapon Master will increase the magic power you gain from emblems, equipments, talents, and skills by 5%, increasing your overall damage potential. And for her core talent, go for Lethal Ignition. Lethal Ignition will help you finish off enemies with low HP. Now, let's talk about her gameplay and how to use her in a match. During the start of the game, unlock your first skill first, as her first skill will allow you to poke the enemies and also clear the minion wave. And during the early stages of the game, you must try your best not to get killed, as dying a lot during the early game will decrease your farm by a lot. And as a mage, as soon as you reach level 2, you can start rotating to the side lanes and gank the enemies. But if your tank is not rotating around with you, then I'd recommend you to just continue farming and try reaching level 4 as fast as you can. And once the turtle gets spawned, you must help your jungler secure the turtle, as taking down the turtle will provide you with a shield, along with extra gold, increasing the chances of snowballing the enemies. So, your early game priorities should be farming, rotating and helping your side laners, and helping your jungler secure the turtle. Now, let's talk about her mid-game. During the mid-game, Odette starts to deal a lot of damage. And this is the stage where you can start shining. But remember, you must never rotate alone. And you must always stay behind your teammates, because the enemies will always try to kill you first. And remember, Odette is weak against heroes like Saber, Franco, Cho, and Guinevere, as these are the heroes that can interrupt and cancel out her ultimate. So make sure to be careful when playing against these heroes. And during a teamfight, if the enemies have multiple stun and knock-up abilities, then I'd recommend you to hide in a bush, or stay behind. And once you see the enemies using their stun and CC abilities, you can directly flicker in the middle of the enemies, and use your ultimate without the fear of being killed. Now, let's talk about her late game. During the late game, Odette can deal a lot of damage, and you should easily be able to melt the enemies just even with your first and second skill. But remember, you must be very careful during the late game, as you are the main damage dealer of the team. And as the game approaches the late game, the victory of a team mostly depends on their mage and marksman. And if you die early, then your team will probably lose the teamfight without you. So you must always be extra careful during the late game. And I'd recommend you to wait a few seconds before joining a teamfight. And that way, the enemies will mostly finish using up their skills, and you will easily be able to use your ultimate without having to worry about being killed. And always remember, timing and positioning is the key to winning during the late game. So always be patient and wait for the right moment to enter the teamfight, as one wrong move could instantly send you back to base. So, what do you think about Odette? Make sure to let me know your thoughts in the comments, and consider liking the video if you have watched this far. And subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos like this. You guys motivate me to make better videos. Thank you for watching.